Hey gang, Ronan here. As you can see in this game, we've got np21 playing the Tier 10 light U.S. cruiser Worcester. Worcester, I guess, if we're going to be colloquial about it.
Battle starts.
If you watch these ICOP videos regularly, you know that he was just featured playing the Tier 8 heavy cruiser U.S. cruiser Baltimore, in which he racked up 6 kills. Fantastic game. Finishing off the game with lapping a CB, which is always just an absolutely joyful experience, no matter what ship type you're playing, but I would say maybe especially in a cruiser. There you go, get a nice close-up look at the Worcester. A little bit of information about the Worcester will be forthcoming in just a moment. I want to give you all the particulars, but really quickly, let's take a look at the matchup. A lot of torpedo threat. Now the Worcester is set up, I think, about as well as you can be against the possibility of a torpedo attack. You've got a defensive fire AA, so that's going to help you if there's a CB in the game, which there isn't here, but still, I mean, we have more aircraft in the game in the way of some hybrid ships. I'm thinking, Isa and Tone, and now we've got all the Dutch cruisers. In this game, we've got Gudelu that have aircraft. But you've also got hydro and radar and heels. You can see the Thunderer player is asking for advice about how to play the Thunderer. That's always a little worrisome. Okay, so the matchmaking, a lot of torpedo threat, but not only is the ship set up to minimize that potential threat, I think the shooting there might have just been to see if there was anybody that could spot him. But you can see that np21 is setting up in a defensive position here away from torpedo strike possibility. But he's going to be in a position to be able to put guns downrange. Now, this is really dangerous if somebody could detect you, because you're sitting broadside to everything out that way. But as long as nobody can see you, you can fire over the edge of this island and just rain fiery death down on the enemy ships. So, right out of the gate, fantastic positioning as np21 goes to work on the Henri. Now you can see these are the classic, very floaty U.S. light cruiser shells. Almost 11 seconds to reach the target. It's tough to hit something that can wiggle at this range with these shells. So they are 152s, the guns. You got 12 of them, 6 turrets, 2 barrels per turret, so 12 guns, a base reload of 4.6 seconds. HE shells do a maximum of 2200 damage with a 12% fire chance, and the max AP shell damage is 3200, but they don't have a whole lot of penetration value, so you've got to be really close to make the AP work really well for you as far as citadel possibility. But you can, against a broadside target, you can do some damage with the AP shells, but it's got to be pretty much flat broadside if you're at range. AA is pretty decent. I generally would argue very few things have what I would consider great AA at this point, but about as good as you can is, wow, lands 12 shells and then 8 more. Nicely done. Max speed of the ship, 33 knots. You can stick a speed signal on there and increase that just a little bit. And the rudder shift is 8.1 seconds, as we do have now. We've got the gearing pushing around behind. And our hero has to be careful here if he gets detected. So he's sitting broadside. I think the only thing that could get guns on him right now is the Napoli, but Napoli shells are no joke. And again, this is a light cruiser. Napoli had his guns facing the other way, thank goodness. And np21 moves forward enough to be able to go dark, but now is detected again. You saw torpedoes coming from kind of the direction of Hindenburg. So, do we have a submarine behind the lines? Maybe. No. That did sound like a sonar ping, didn't it? Base surface detectability range on this ship 12.42 kilometers, and air detectability base 8.52 kilometers. np21 fires up the hydro in anticipation of the possibility of torpedoes. Good guys have secured 2 caps. They've got Bravo and Charlie. We've got 4 ships kind of on the north side of Charlie here, all pretty much on the 8 line. I think primarily due to the threat of torpedo strike. The good guys do have a DD there, you can see. Helping to prevent that gearing that we saw from getting into the cap. Things have turned a little bit ugly for the good guys over at Alpha. You can see the Montana's pushing in, but I don't see how he survives that. He does have a Belau helping him, but Goliath, he's not able to do much from where he's at. You see the red gearing is lit up for the time being. Yoshino has a chance there. And that's the raining fiery death that I was talking about. Few ships can do it like this ship can. I guess if it was capable of using HE shells, maybe the Minotaur might be similar. There's a fire. As Thunderer is working his way out of range. And it's over 14 seconds to get the shells all the way out to the target at that range. Really hard to land shells. But Thunder is continuing to burn, and it looks like our hero might get the kill here. We'll see. He does. There's kill number 1. We're 7.5 minutes in. 135 shells on target, 3 fires started, 71,000 damage, and a kill. Now the gearing did go around to the south, and he's got a little more HP than the good guy that's defending the cap. He is outside of radar range, so let's hope these shells land, because if they do, that's probably it for gearing. Nope. Sherman takes out the gearing. Gearing takes out the Sherman. And, well, at least for the time being, the Charlie cap remains secure. Yeah, things have turned firmly sideways at the Alpha cap. The enemy Yoshino, Yu Yang, look like they are securing the Alpha cap. Goliath has pushed forward enough to be able to get guns on the Yoshino. And then here we see the benefits of this positioning. But he is detected, and Hindi shells at this range are pretty devastating. Backs up enough to keep the island between himself and the incoming shells. Now Hindi is pushing into radar range here. He's behind the tallest part of that island, but he's coming this way, which means these shells are going to be able to get over the end. Now Hindy's got great hydro. So np21, anticipating that Hindy might get close enough to use it, has moved out. And I imagine he's going to be angling here. Although Hindy's got his guns pointed elsewhere, they are swinging around. Maybe toward the friendly Hindy? And that Hindenburg is in big trouble. Could this be kill number 2? It is.
Cruiser destroyed. Our team has taken the lead.
Alright, we're sitting over 91,000 damage. 188 shells on target. And 2 kills. Meanwhile, the bad guys have secured both the Alpha and Bravo cap. Friendly Blau takes out the enemy Yu Yang. That's a big thing. See, the gearing went behind the lines over there. He's on the 4 line now, on the Delta 4. I imagine between the Goliath and the Napoli, they're going to finish off that gearing. And they do. There's still a lot of concentrated firepower now on the 7 line. Hindenburg, Stalingrad, Thunderer, and our hero here in the Worcester. He goes to work with the AP on a broadside Napoli. These shells, I don't know how much damage they're going to do against the Napoli. It's pretty heavily armored. HE might have been the better bet there. Lands a fair number of shells, very little damage. Now switching to HE. I think that's probably a lot better bet. Just, it's tough to make the AP shells do much at this range.
Torpedoes to starboard. Torpedo, dead ahead.
Look at that arc. Just flies right over the island. And 4 more for good measure. Napoli is putting himself in harm's way here. I'm sure he's trying to avoid shells from the other side, but only have to land a couple shells on the Napoli with this HE, and I think he'll be dead. See some AP from the Stalingrad there. Nevsky crosses through the Alpha cap, puts himself in pretty brutal crossfire. He's got Hindy on one side, Thunderer on the other, but the Red Blau takes care of the Thunderer. Good guy's now down to 3 ships against 6. And np21 doing his best to square those odds a little bit, put shells out on the Napoli, but Stalingrad finishes him, and now shells on the Nevsky while Hindy finishes him. And now things look a little different. Good guys have 3 ships, bad guys have 4, and the good guys still have a 350-point lead on the back of having secured caps for so long. Tries to get the AP to work again as the Henry changes angle. np21 changes shells, goes back to the HE. Now the bad guys are probably doing a little math right now. If we just hang on to these, nice job, picks up the Confederate, landing 7 more, well actually 10 more shells. Bad guys are probably trying to determine whether they can win this match just by hanging on to what they have. They do have a ship advantage, they've got a cap advantage, and in 6 minutes, the question is, can they make up 226, something like that, points? The results of their calculations will determine what they do here. If they keep falling back, then they obviously feel confident they can hang on and win just by keeping the good guys from securing or getting into the Bravo cap. Our hero is detected, but he does get a fire on the LP. Fires up the radar, lights up the Blau. And he gets some idea which direction he was heading, and then throws out the airstrikes. Bringing some early Christmas presents to the Balau. Now, Balau doesn't have much in the way of HP, so only going to have to land a couple of these depth charges. But it looks like Balau is going to skate by. I think our hero could push right around that corner and blap the Balau. He can wait here. If Balau continues on his current course, he might catch him anyway. Fires up the hydro. Stalingrad is he's in a tough spot. That Yamato out there is a huge threat. Those shells are just devastating against cruisers. And since that's all the good guys have left, they are kind of forced into having to play very conservatively. You can see the Stali is nose in now to an island. I'm sure he was trying to avoid the Yamato shells. np21 switches to the AP, trying to get shots on this Gudenlu. Gudenlu is tough to Citadel, but you can do nice damage. There's a couple thousand. And np21 pushes out. Just going to put him in the sights of the Yamato and also the Balau, but I think he's going to finish off the Gudenlu with this volley. Nope. Hindi finishes him off with fire. And our hero is not detected, which is a really good thing. Now this is tough. This is really tough because you're sitting right on top of this sub. Now the sub pushes far enough away to make the guns able to track and pays the ultimate price. If you're keeping track, that's kill number 3 for our hero as he sits at 128,000 plus damage. And now he's in position to be able to get into this Bravo camp. And the score is looking very different. Each team now with 2 ships. And the Hindi is closing to torpedo range. That was very close. Hindi's going to have to show some side to get the rest of the torpedoes away from the other side of the ship. He's turning to starboard to get his port side torpedoes away. You can see Yamato's burning as np21 angles up to avoid getting blapped by the Henri. Here come the torpedoes from the Hindi. And he does land quite a smackdown there on the Yamato, but Yamato repairs. Is Hindi going to ram? Does he have more torpedoes? Looks like he's going for the ram, but he doesn't make it. Oh, this is very tough. Okay, now Yamato's probably dead, right? Especially if we get, yep, there we go. Now it's 1v1. It doesn't get any better than this, folks. That's kill number 4, and if our hero manages this, that's a kraken. On top of winning the game for his team. I hope you picked up some karma here, brother. "37 seconds till the hydro's back up. The np21 switches to HE and just goes to work. However this ends, fantastic game, man. And thanks so much for sending the replay file. This was really fun to watch. Ladies and gentlemen, I think he's got it. So I'm going to congratulate him right now on the Kraken Unleashed. Those of you joining me, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. And I'll see you next time.